UFC 313 full card breakdown. Let's get into it, boys. We're going to be starting off with the early prelims, ending with the main event. You know how it goes. Full card breakdown, boys. I did my quick picks last week. We're going to be switching things up this week. We got some different picks a little bit, man. I've changed my mind. I've dug deeper into some tape, looked at these guys' fight records, looked at who is really going to win this fight. So before we go ahead and get into it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's start it off with the early prelim opener of Ozzy Diaz versus Jordan Santos is opening up this fight card, UFC 313. This is not a bad matchup. It is a middleweight matchup. We don't know too much about Jordan Santos. He's coming off a Dana White Contender Series, coming off of a good win on Dana White Contender Series, man, where he shut down a decent prospect. He shut down a pretty good prospect. He outstruck him, was able to mix it up very well. Doesn't have a lot of power in his hands, but he's very well rounded. He's fighting Ozzy Diaz, who is coming off of that loss to Zhang Mingyang in Macau. That was a knockout loss. He got knocked out. I'm gonna say it was a close fight until the knockout. Ozzy Diaz landed some good shots, landed some good low kicks on Zhang Mingyang, but Mingyang just had more power and was able to blitz in with an elbow, dropped him, finished him on the ground. Wasn't a crazy finish, but it was dominant nonetheless. Ozzy Diaz is 9-3. His few losses in his MMA career are to very well-rounded fighters and very good fighters. I mean, he lost to Joe Pyfer and Zhang Mingyang. I don't know who the other loss is, but those are good. I'm not going to say those are good losses, but those are good opponents to lose to, right? And then you got Jordan Santos, who is 10-1. He's on a decent win streak right now, but the problem with Jordan Santos is his power, man. I'm worried about when we get in the pocket, when these guys get close, when they start slugging and throwing hands. I'm worried that Ozzy Diaz is going to catch Jordan Santos and land the more powerful shot. Everybody's going to Jordan Santos, man. I'm going to be switching my pick. I'm going to be going with Ozzy Diaz by round 2 or round 3 TKO. I think he's going to land a nice shot in the pocket. I'm worried about Jordan Santos, his power. He doesn't have an excessive amount of power. He's very well rounded, but he's shorter. He's got a smaller reach. Ozzy Diaz is standing way tall above him, man. He's standing decently tall above Jordan Santos. I believe he's 6'4". Jordan Santos, I think, is 6 foot. I'm pretty sure. And there's a reach advantage for Ozzy Diaz. And when these guys get in the pocket or when they start throwing hands, I think Ozzy Diaz, if he connects, he could put Jordan Santos to sleep. So I'm going to go Ozzy Diaz as the underdog, the early prelim opener, man. I'm going to go Ozzy Diaz by TKO round 2 or round 3. But we will move on to the next fight, Chris Gutierrez versus John Castaneda. This was added to the fight card of about a week ago. Not even. So it was added after my quick picks. If you haven't seen that, go check that out. That's on my channel. I make it every single Friday. I'm always going to make my quick picks. So tomorrow we are going to be doing the quick picks for the Apex next week. But Chris Gutierrez versus John Castaneda. Gutierrez was supposed to fight, what's his name? Oh my goodness, man. I hate when I forget names. The guy who fought in Seattle. In Seattle. If you know, man. I'll be losing names sometimes. But Chris Gutierrez got rescheduled to fight John Castaneda. Castaneda was supposed to fight what's his name? Andrade. Dude, I just be forgetting names sometimes. I'm cooked right now, all right? End of the day, forget about it. These guys got rescheduled. They're fighting each other. They are not fighting at 135. It says 135. They're fighting at a catchweight, and I believe they are fighting at 145. So, there's going to be a weight advantage. There's going to be a bit of a weight advantage, and I think that's going to be good for John Castaneda. I think it'll be good for John Castaneda, but Chris Gutierrez is a much better striker. Utilizes his kicks very well, utilizes that distance. He manages distance perfectly. John Castaneda is going to have to make it a bit of a dogfight. He's going to have to blitz in, start slugging hands. John Castaneda is a decent wrestler, not bad, but primarily keeps it on the feet. Chris Gutierrez likes to keep his distance. Like I said, picks his shots very wisely. Not a crazy amount of volume, but he does put out about 5 strikes per minute. That's pretty good. Chris Gutierrez, I think, will be landing the better shots, but John Castaneda can make it a dogfight. This is a pretty close pick'em. It's a very close pick'em. I believe the line is going and closing closer to Gutierrez as a favorite, but I am going to go with Chris Gutierrez. I am going to stay with Chris Gutierrez. What am I saying, man? I think he's just got more experience. He's gone 5 rounds. He went 5 rounds with Song Yadong, that's a great look. Even though he got pieced up for the most part of that fight, he went 5 rounds with Song Yadong. That's good. Song Yadong's a crazy finisher. I don't think this is going to end in a finish, But if it does, I'm going to side with Chris Gutierrez, man, and I'm going to side with him to land the better shots, be able to keep this fight out in the distance that he likes, in the void. I'm going to use a Mighty Mouse term, with the void that he likes, man. So I think he'll be able to stay at range and just pick the shots wisely. I'm going to go Chris Gutierrez by decision. But we will move on to the next fight. Myron Santos versus Francis Marshall. This is a pretty good matchup. Pretty good featherweight matchup. Myron Santos is coming off of tough, man. Crazy knockout over Con Offley. It was a nasty knockout. I remember watching that. I was like, oh, shit. I had a feeling Myron Santos was gonna win that fight. He was a favorite to win that fight, and well-deserved. Very nice knockout. And he's fighting a guy in Francis Marshall, who's pretty good himself, man. But Francis Marshall is a pressure wrestler, man. He likes to wrestle. He's decent on the feet. He has a lot of openings on the feet, though. He can get caught, and that's where I'm worried in this fight against Myron Santos, because Myron Santos, even though he doesn't have an insane amount of volume, he utilizes his low kicks very well, breaks you down in the feet, and slowly breaks you down until he finds a nice, clean shot like he found against Colin Offley. I think he'll be doing that, the exact same game plan against Francis Marshall. I don't think he has to change that at all. Slowly pick apart Francis Marshall's legs and try to look for that shot upstairs on the head and try to knock Francis Marshall out. Francis Marshall is not necessarily chinny, but he did get knocked out about 2 fights ago. So I think Francis Marshall, his game plan is going to be clear. It's going to be clear he wants to wrestle. He's going to want to clinch. He's going to want to get in close against Myron Santos. And Santos is going to want to keep the distance, but be able to land a nice shot in the pocket. I'm going to be siding with Myron Santos to land the better shots and to potentially catch Francis Marshall. I think there's too many openings for Francis Marshall to get caught. He doesn't have a super tight guard. He's not that defensively sound. So I'm going to go I'm going to go Myron Santos. What am I saying? By round 3 TKO, man. I think he's going to find it late in round 3. Finally be able to piece up Francis Marshall, slow him down with the leg kicks, and find that shot upstairs. But we will move on to the next fight. Alex Morono versus Carlos Leal. This is a decent fight. Rough for Alex Morono, though, man. He keeps on kind of being fed. He's not even being fed to really great guys. He's just one of those dudes that you look at in the UFC and you're like, wow. It's just, he doesn't have a scary finishing ability. Zero finishing ability, actually. What am I saying? Alex Morono, he has finished guys, but it's just not intimidating at all. Like Carlos Leal just went in short notice, fought Renat Fakhretdinov, man. He may be juicing. Don't get me wrong. Carlos Leal is probably on a bunch of PEDs, because no dudes in their 30s, 20s, I think he's 30. No dudes in their 30s have acne all over their chest, man. So he is probably juicing, let's be honest. But Carlos Leal did very well in that fight. He won that fight against Renat. That was an absolute robbery in Abu Dhabi. It was just a robbery. It was just an absolute robbery. We know this at UFC 308. So he's fighting Alex Morono. I don't see any path of victory for Alex Morono in this fight unless Carlos Leal gets off the PEDs or he, completely switches his fight style. I don't see a scenario where Carlos loses this fight. So I'm going to go Carlos Leal by round 1 TKO, man. I think he will finish Alex Morono. He was landing heavy shots on Renat. Renat was able to slug it out, but he lost that fight and he got robbed. Carlos Leal got robbed, so he's not going to be getting robbed in this one. We're going Carlos Leal by round 1 TKO. We move on. Next fight, Bruno Ferreira versus Arman Petrosyan. Both these guys are coming off of losses, man. They both need this win. Bruno Ferreira was also on UFC 308, got submitted by Abu Magomedov in round 3. He slowed down. Both guys were gassing out, but Bruno Ferreira gassed out a bit too hard and got caught in an arm triangle, got submitted. Arman Petrosyan also fought at UFC 308. Man, there's a lot of guys who fought at UFC 308. They're booking him here. Arman Petrosyan, that spinning back fist knockout by Sher Magomedov, which was a highlight of 2024. Didn't look too good for Arman Petrosyan, but these guys they need to be in the win column. They're trying to get back in the win column here. So this is going to be a close one. This is a close one because when you're looking at knockout and finishing ability, you're siding with Bruno Ferreira without a doubt. But when you're looking with stamina and kickboxing and who can really keep the distance and be able to go those 15 minutes, you're looking at Arman Petrosyan, man. So this is going to be really close. And there's basically kind of 2 outcomes here. Either Bruno Ferreira finishes him early or Arman Petrosyan finishes Bruno Ferreira late or gets the decision. There's kind of those few options with this fight. I am going to be siding with Bruno Ferreira to get it done. I just think Bruno Ferreira caught Abu Magomedov in this last fight. He could have finished Abu Magomedov if he put the pace on a bit more, caught him, dropped him with a head kick, I believe, and he just didn't finish the fight. But if he catches Armin Petrosian, he will finish this fight. He will finish him. And Bruno Ferreira doesn't have to worry about getting submitted. Armin Petrosian is not going to submit Bruno Ferreira. If anything, Armin Petrosian is going to be relying on his kicks. He could catch Bruno Ferreira, but I think Ferreira is just going to get comfortable. Once he eats Armin Petrosian's best shots, he's going to start marching forward and throwing his overhand rights, and I think he will clip Armin Petrosian. So I'm going to go Bruno Ferreira, round 2 TKO. But we will move on to the final fight of the prelims. We got Ray Tsuruya versus Joshua Van. Joshua Van is a great prospect at flyweight. We know this. Ray as well is a good prospect, but he is getting fed to Joshua Van very early in his career. He has only got one win in the UFC. It's against Carlos Hernandez. It was a good win. He mixed in the wrestling, mixed in the striking. Very, very well-rounded guy, Ray Tsuruya. But I can't even say his last name. I'm just going to say Ray. He's able to mix things up very well. But against Joshua Van, he's going to have to be perfect. He's going to have to fight a perfect game because Joshua Van, as we know, is the best boxer, it seems, in flyweight. He is one of the most entertaining, the guy with the fastest hands in flyweight, and he's a great prospect. So Joshua Van, I can't say enough good things about him. Of course, he lost to Charles Johnson, but I think if he gets caught, Joshua Van really needs to get caught by somebody with a lot of power to lose a fight. And Ray Tsuruya does not have that power. I don't think he has that power. He's going to be relying heavily on his wrestling. I think Joshua Van is going to shut down that wrestling. I mean, his takedown defense is very good. I believe it's 85% takedown defense. Joshua Van's takedown defense is great. It's very great. And his boxing is crisp. So Ray Tsuruya is either going to have perfect striking and perfect wrestling, or he's going to have to land a knockout blow. It's just, I don't think it's going to be possible. I think Joshua Van's going to piece him up, and Joshua Van gets better as the rounds go on. We saw this when he fought Cody Durden. He was struggling with the wrestling early, but as he slowly gassed out Cody Durden and landed the better shots, dropped him in moments, really hurt him in moments, I think that's going to be the exact same thing. And also the fact that Ray is just decently inexperienced. I know Joshua Van only has 4 fights more, but Ray is younger than Joshua Van. Both these guys are the only guys in the UFC to ever fight born after the year 2000. That's a crazy thing. I didn't even know that was a statistic, but I just think Ray Tsuruya needs more experience, and I don't think he's going to have the power to sleep Joshua Van. So I'm going to go Joshua Van by decision, man. I think it's going to be a clear 29-28, maybe even 29-27 decision for Joshua Van. We move on to the main card. We got Curtis Blaydes versus Rizvan Kuniev. Dude, how is Rizvan Kuniev in the UFC? I don't get it. How are we letting guys that are blatantly popping an excessive amount of PEDs in the UFC? I don't understand. It doesn't really matter. He's here. He's fighting Curtis Blaydes. It's too late. All right, it's too late. But I'm just going to go Curtis Blaydes. I'm going to go Curtis Razor Blaydes. Rizvan Kuniev does not have the finishing ability or the proper defense to beat a guy like Curtis Blaydes. Look, Curtis Blaydes may be coming off of a loss to Tom Aspinall, but that is the champion, man. He's fighting the champ, and now he's fighting Rizvan Kuniev, who is an ex-PED popper, and his last good fight was against, Ferreira from the PFL, all right, who's 6'8". He was able to blitz in, land some good shots, don't get me wrong, but he was on an insane amount of PEDs. Now that he's off that, he looks like Shamil the Blob Gaziev, all right, even worse than Gaziev, okay? So we're not picking Rizvan Kuniev. In no eternity are we picking Rizvan Kuniev. If he wins this fight, I will crash out. I will crash out because my boy Curtis Razor Blaydes is not going to lose this fight. He's not going to lose this fight. There's zero chance he loses this fight. I think he knocks out Rizvan Kuniev in round 1 or round 2. He said it already. He said it on a podcast or in an interview that he was going to get a takedown, land ground and pound on Rizvan Kuniev, and finish him with elbows. I think that is a perfect way to go about it, man. Curtis Blaydes should be able to take down the blob. He's even more blobby than Shamil Gaziev. Be able to take down Rizvan Kuniev, land that ground and pound, and finish him. I think that's how it's going to go. In round 1 or round 2, let's get it, Curtis Blaydes. We move on, though. King Green or Bobby Green, man. I'm not saying King Green, all right? He's not a king, but it doesn't matter. He's fighting Mauricio Rufy. Good lightweight matchup. Somebody's going to get finished in this fight. Rufy wasn't able to finish Long Top in his last fight. Long Top is just one of those Mexican guys that, they got him in every division. One of those either Mexican or South American guys. They got him in every division where they just have an insane chin on him. They have an insane chin. You can't finish those dudes. So Mauricio Rufy dropped him with some shovel hooks, It was nasty. Wasn't able to finish on top. He's just so gritty, so tough. But King Green is not like that. Bobby Green is not like that, man. Bobby Green is, I believe he's 2-1 in his last 3 fights. His best win was against an aging Jim Miller, a 41-year-old Jim Miller. So I just can't rate Bobby Green's fights, and his chin is just very questionable at this point. His last really bad loss was to Jalen Turner. He got chinned real bad. All right, I don't know how the ref let that keep going, but we know Bobby Green struggles to be defensively sound, and his chin is cooked now. All right, you can't be bouncing around with your hands low with a bad chin against Mauricio Rufy. It's just not going to work. I don't think Mauricio Rufy is deserving of the rankings yet, but with a good performance against Bobby Green, maybe he could get that shot. I think he will knock out Bobby Green, though, in round 2. I think round 1 will be slow. They'll be feeling each other out. Rufy is not very high volume, but he picks his shots very wisely. Bobby Green is, bouncing around, trying to land an overhand right, trying to land a jab. I think he will be doing that in the first round, but Rufy will be feeling it out, seeing where he can land a counter. And once he lands that counter, if he lands that shovel hook that he landed on James Lontop on Bobby Green's going to sleep. Let's be honest, boys. So I'm gonna already call it performance bonus of the night for Mauricio Rufy to knock out Bobby Green in round 2. We move on though. Amanda Lemos versus Yasmin Lucindo. Don't really care about this fight. Don't know why it's on the main card, but we will break it down nonetheless. Amanda Lemos is coming off that loss to Verna Jandiroba. She got subbed. Yasmin Lucindo is coming off of a decision win. Not a bad decision win. I forget who she beat, but it was okay. It was all right, And this fight is pretty well matched. It is pretty well matched. I'm going to side with Amanda Lemos for finishing ability, but I think Yasmin Lucindo is on the come up. She's got the momentum. She is more well-rounded now. I think if she starts struggling on the feet with Amanda Lemos, who is a good start, she's a good striker, but she struggles on the ground. For a Brazilian, she doesn't have great Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Her BJJ is not that good. Yasmin Lucindo will be better on the ground, will be able to dominate her on the ground. I'm just worried about the feet. On the feet, I'm going to be siding with Amanda Lemos. On the ground, we're going to be going with Yasmin Lucindo. So pick-wise, I am going to go with Yasmin Lucindo. I just think she will get the takedowns necessary to school a boring decision, 29-28. Amanda Lemos, she's still good. She's still dangerous on the feet. But Yasmin, if she does struggle on the feet with Lemos, she just can revert to that option of, okay, I'm going to take her down. I'm going to lay on her for 15 minutes. I'm just going to land a couple shots, hold her down here, maybe look for a submission attempt or two. I just see that kind of how this fight's going to play out. So I'm going to go Yasmin Lucindo by 29-28 unanimous decision. We move on. Jalen Turner versus Ignacio Bahamondes. This is my favorite fight on the card. Honestly, of course, these two fights are amazing, but this is one of my most, the fights I'm most excited for, man. I'm really excited to see two 6'3" lightweights going at it, man. They're both amazing dynamic strikers. Jalen walk-off KO Turner. We'll see what happens in this fight. I think it's going to be close. A lot of people, I think everybody's going Ignacio Bahamondes just because of the fact that Jalen Turner does tend to, make just poor IQ moments, poor IQ decisions, poor IQ, ways to go about his fight style. And he's got a fresh cut. Usually doesn't go well when fighters got fresh new cuts, switching up the hairstyle. But we will see. Jalen Turner is coming off that loss to Renato Moicano. He got ground and pound TKO'd after he dropped Renato, man, and went for the walk-off TKO. It just wasn't the way to go. It was a low IQ moment, and that's why everybody's doubting Jalen Turner right now. But Ignacio Bahamondes is on a 2-fight win streak, both KOs, man. Beautiful KO at UFC 306 in the Sphere. That was a very, very nice step back, right hand over the top, knocked out Torres. That was a very nice finish by Ignacio Bahamondes. He looks very clean. Very comfortable. His last loss was to what's his name? He's on the come up. Oh shoot, I'm so bad at remembering names today, boys. But Klein. Sorry, Klein. His last loss was to Klein, who is also a very high prospect in the lightweight division. I'm surprised he didn't get that shot at top 15, but I think that's just because Ignacio Bahamondes has more finishing abilities, more fun, he's more entertaining. So I think he deserves this fight, and I think this is a very great matchup. This is great matchmaking. This is what you love to see. But, when you come down to picks, Ignacio Bahamondes has all the momentum right now, and Jalen Turner needs this win. So, I picked Ignacio in my quick picks. I'm going to be going with Jalen Turner as my lock. I'm not going to call him a lock, but as my my new pick. I'm not locking this in. This is a pick 'em, man. This is a very close fight. Very close fight. Betting wise, I'd be betting Ignacio Bahamondes, but I do think there is a chance that Jalen Turner can pull off this fight, and I think he could maybe finish Ignacio Bahamondes because in the pocket, I think Jalen Turner does have more power. He's got more power. He's better. His striking is better. I think Ignacio's got nicer kicks and a better ground game, but Jalen Turner's takedown defense is very good. Ignacio Bahamondes is better, but I don't think Ignacio is going to be shooting takedowns. I don't think he's going to be going for a submission on Jalen Turner. I think Turner and Ignacio will be striking for the most part, right? Or clinching. And in the clinch, I'm just going to trust Jalen Turner to land the better shots and potentially knock out Ignacio Bahamondes. So I'm going to go Jalen Turner by knockout in round 2 or round 3. We move on to the co-main event, Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev 2. Rafael Fiziev is coming in on a short notice. We know this, boys. I mean, respect to Rafael Fiziev. Respect to Fiziev. I'm really excited to watch this one because the first fight was close. It was very close. And if there wasn't that cut above and below Fiziev's eye, maybe we would have seen a different outcome. Maybe we would have seen a different trajectory of lightweight. But we're not going to think about that. We've got the rematch. Justin Gaethje is coming off of that brutal knockout to Max Holloway at UFC 300. We know how that went. That was just brutal, man. The BMF curse is real. It's real, and that might be knockout of the century of the entire UFC. That is one of the best knockouts of all time at UFC 300. So it's rough. Justin Gaethje needs a bounce back fight, but he's fighting Rafael Fiziev. Even though Fiziev is coming in on short notice, this guy is always dangerous. He is always live. He brings the fight to you. He throws hands. Okay, this is such a risk for Justin Gaethje. And I'm worried that Gaethje is not in the right headspace to be taking on this fight. He is not completely adjusted. He did a whole training camp for a guy who's taller, lengthier, Dan Hooker, who kind of just genuinely throws hooks and just is in the pocket with you. Rafael Fiziev does a lot of kicking, lots of kicks, very scrappy, will get really close to you and just start winging bombs. I think he's going to connect hard on Justin Gaethje. So I am going to be going with Rafael Fiziev. I don't remember if I picked Justin or Rafael in my quick picks, but I'm pretty sure I picked Justin. I'm switching to Fiziev, man. It's just, I'm really worried that Gaethje, that last loss really affected him. He's 36 years old at lightweight now, and I think he's going to be slower than we usually see Gaethje. I think Fiziev's going to have a speed advantage, be able to outdamage him, and I'm going to go Rafael Fiziev by round 2 or round 3 TKO, man. But we move on to the main event, Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev. I'm not switching my pick on this one. I am solid with Alex Pereira. I'm riding with Alex Pereira. This is a ride or die pick, man. We got to go with Alex Pereira, all right? I don't care about if Magomed Ankalaev is not fasting, being disgraceful for his religion. I don't care if he says, oh, I'm going to stand with you. And now he just lied. He lied. He said he is going to wrestle for 25 minutes. He lied. All right. So it pisses me off. It does. It pisses me off. It bothers me. I'm really, really excited to see this matchup, but I'm worried now that Magomed Ankalaev is, I'm not going to say he's cheating, but he's cheating his religion and he's cheating what he said. He's not backing what he said. He's doing the complete opposite. He's not fasting and he is going to wrestle for 25 minutes, boys. He's going to wrestle for 25 minutes. He's going to attempt to shoot those takedowns right off the get-go after he gets hit with one shot by Alex Pereira. So I do trust Alex Pereira's takedown defense now, and I do trust his ground game. He's been working with a lot of guys in the gym, a lot of great wrestling and BJJ artists in the gym. I think he's going to be ready and he's going to be prepared for a guy like Magomed Ankalaev to be shooting for his legs nonstop. And I'm going to go with Alex Pereira by unanimous decision. 49, 48 unanimous decision for Alex Pereira. I don't think he will sleep Magomed Ankalaev. I think it'll be close, but I think Alex Pereira will get the more damaging shots and be able to sway the judges quite clearly. So I'm going to go Alex Pereira by unanimous decision. But that is the entire card, boys. That's my full card breakdown. If you guys did enjoy the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, drop your comments down below what you guys think about the picks and who you guys are picking, and I will catch you boys in the next one.